Testing, testing. So I've changed the encoder preset to high. So maybe it doesn't create as many artifacts when I scroll around. Maybe better. I mean, it's still bad, but that's just the nature of the game. Yeah, because I will be moving around quite a lot today. And if that's completely unwatchable, then I might do something different. But yeah, I mean, at this distance, it looks fine. Okay. So I managed to get the pathfinding, I mean, it's not pathfinding, but the path generation to work. So if I restart the game, then there's really only one path forward. All the others are collapsed. And it also finds a path every time. So there's, I mean, every time is not true because I'm guessing there's tens of thousands of different paths, and I haven't checked them all, but it's definitely not bad. What is bad is the world. The world is not fit for the path that is most of the world. And the way I fixed that is by laying out the boundaries between the patches, between the tile patches. And I've been doing that today. And it's quite a bit more time consuming than I thought. But that's fine because I'm way ahead of schedule. Granted, I cut a few corners, but at this rate I will need about a third of the time that I thought I would to bring the paths back into the game. So that's pretty good. There's also the so there's the ending. Well, actually, it's you can reach kind of an end. Am I backtracking? I think so. You can reach the end of the path, which is right now it's 30 tile patches long, and that I just put that number in, and I'm not sure what the correct number should be. I think does it continue here? I think so. It doesn't. I also removed the minimap because the game's linear now again. And I've got God mode activated, so I'm not dying here while I'm testing the path. And I'm getting into a region where I've not worked on the map as much. So there are, as you can see here, there are loops which are just confusing. So those need to go, for the most part at least. I mean, I can have loops, but there should be an intention behind them. And I also need to disable the hunger in God mode, because that's annoying. That's also not the exit. Oh, I should show the seed here. Because if I exit this run, there's no way to get back into it. I mean, if I exit this into the editor, if I exit the game, it's saved, of course. So I should put the seed in the menu. Let's do that real quick. So I'm rendering the version here, and that's at 2 character heights from the bottom. So let's make this 3 here and say seed, and the seed is just seed. And of course that's left aligned. Maybe that's enough. Yeah, I mean, I could move the actually, let's look at the inventory. Inventory is further left than the menu. Oh, actually, yeah, but just by one character. But let's make this 11. And then, yeah, that's fine for now. Maybe I should choose seeds that are not that gigantic. Should I limit that? Yeah, I mean 99,000 should be enough. Let's see. I mean, it should be shorter just so I can easily write it down, which means people can also easily share it. And harsh said, okay. Okay, so these are platform dependent. And what is math calling? The random seed. Okay. So that's just a random number. Nothing special. What is it? So this shouldn't be called random seed. It should be called random number. Okay. This should do the trick. I don't even need to clean that. Let's try this again. Okay, that works. And why is it... Am I printing that wrong? Nope. Okay, I get it. But wait, doesn't the... So these functions shouldn't be using the seed. It's a bit weird. And I don't think they do. Okay. Looking at the random function calls. Actually, I only need the seeded one, do I? Yeah. Return chance ground. Why does this use the seeded randomness? That sounds completely wrong. Yeah. So this, on the other hand, is filling the world, so that's okay. And that's where we're stuck now. So that's good. Let's look at the path, but that should be fine. Yeah. And yeah, that's actually it. So let's start a new run. The seed is 942 something. And this is another one. Where does it reset? Or is it just advancing? Yeah, I need a second variable. And R. And then this. And in the game, also this. And I'm sure that it will be the same between runs. This one is from a save file, probably, so let's restart. Okay, 916, restart, 916. So I need to reset the seed, of course. Because as it is now, it doesn't make sense. Oh, it does reset. Okay, how did I overlook all these? So yeah, the seed is modified. It's also a counter. So I have to save it in a different variable. Okay, let's restart. Well, look who's live again. Hey, 6412. How's it going? I'm currently looking at my random seed generator. Okay, that's 752. And that's different. So that's good. But now I don't have... I cannot shorten the number. What was the other call? RUI. Why am I using the clock here, but not with the other calls? About missed yesterday's stream. Went out to the pub with some pals for a lot of drinks. That sounds good. I think yesterday's stream wasn't that interesting anyways. So going out to the pub is much more interesting, much more fun. And yeah, but I've been working on the path generation, which works. I actually brought it to a pretty good state. And I'm on a tangent here. Not sure how I arrived at it. Where's the... Where were all the calls? Here? No. Oh, they were in game.c. Nice, preparing for a new release tonight. I'm working towards it. I'm not sure if I can today, because what I have to do is I have to paint in all the red boundaries between the patches, and that takes longer than I expected. But it's not bad. It's a day of mind-numbing work, and I did some work today already. But yeah, it has to look like this, which is indistinguishable from what it shouldn't look like here. So I have to go through patch for patch, and that's because the Let me turn them on here. Let me show you a simple one. So this patch right here has these 4 exits and they get collapsed if they're not taken. So this one stayed, but this one is gone now, as you can see. And this one also collapsed, and now this one also, currently is random here in the editor, which ones get collapsed and which ones don't. And in order to have a smooth path, I have to check all these. So let's look at a bad example. Yeah, here for example. This patch is huge. So imagine the player coming in right here, and the only exit out of here is this red zone. But all this space is still in the game. So there's basically a dead end right here. All of these would be closed. So the player runs into a dead end, which is just, it's annoying. So I would have to chop this in half here somewhere. And do that for all the tiles. So yeah, that's a bit of work. What's the red bit? That's the exits, basically, that get collapsed or not, depending on if the path goes through. You can think of them as doors. And these are all a whole bunch of rooms with doors, and the pathfinding chooses which doors to go through and leaves all of them shut. And shut in my case means they get they move down 2 elevations, so they become a boundary. If they're used, on the other hand, then you can walk them. So that's how the pathfinding is. Not the pathfinding, the path is working. So it's seamless. You couldn't tell where the path was cut off or not. So that's pretty cool. And it makes for a changing world. But yeah, I'll have to go through all of them. Well, not all, but just the upper right corner of the world for now. And I'll do that once I figured out what I did here. But actually, this is fine. Am I complicating this? Nope. But I want math. Let's see. Let's make a new seed function or advance. Yeah. Well, this is. Let's just do it this way. the stupidest, easiest way. Come on. Yeah, I was trying to shorten the seed number just so that I can work with it easier. And the same thing here. Come on. Putting Occam's razor to test, yeah. We start. Okay, so, that's a 5-digit number for the seed, that's good. 5 digits. 5 digits, okay. Yeah, let's just save that. Okay. So let's look at the fun part for today. So I worked left to right with the right edge, and I also went back, I think. Yeah, pretty sure. This all looks good. This is a problem. Yeah, let's remove this for now. And I'll add this. And then add the boundary again. So this breaks down or not. And there's a stone here. Needs to go. That's kind of bad. Okay. Yeah, so I'm trying to have 3 exits per patch. 2 are good as well. More is, I think, too much, but I can't really tell right now. Because I'd have to have more experience with the game. But to get experience, I have to have a playable game, so the usual. Okay, I could use a staircase right here. And let's paint that red. Yeah. I was looking at some source code from some games from the 90s. Found that Hexen uses RCS. That RCS tags at the top of their C files showing author, revision number, and date inside the code comment. Descent and Rise of the Triad also appear to have used RCS to version their games. Oh, that's nice. Didn't know that. Yeah, you can add comments to your game, to your source code using RCS. But I've never looked into that. But yeah, I think it appends them when you check it out, or when you check the file out. But I'm not sure. Okay, this works. That's a bit awkward, but okay. Yeah, CVS has the same. If you just do $ID $, it automatically, when you commit updates to those files, that has the tag. Just expands into whatever. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Now I get it. Sorry. Now I get it. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I was thinking about my handling of the game version with the compile macro, but that's something different, of course. Okay, am I moving left or am I moving right? Maybe let's look at this. I think that's okay. So this patch has 4 exits already. But yeah, I just made a note to myself before stream that I shouldn't collapse all the large tile patches, because that's then boring. Yeah, interesting though. SVN apparently has the same thing too. Apparently it's to help devs that don't have an internet connection. CVS log and SVN log both send a request to the server. It's to help devs that don't have an internet connection. CVS log and SVN log both send a request to the server. So if one day you're working and don't have access to the server, you can just read the top of the header file to know the log history of a file. Oh, I get it. That's smart. That's actually pretty handy. But yeah, I'm always afraid to mess up my source code when I do things like that. Having tools alter my files. So I'm a bit too scared for that. Okay, we come in here. This is already cut in 2, 3. Okay, this is no, it's not a dead end. It was one. It has been a dead end. Okay, this looks dangerous. Yeah, I don't particularly want CVS SVN inject versioning history in an ever-expanding code comment, especially since I commit frequently. Yeah, my project has like 20k lines across all files, 80% revision comments though. Yeah, I mean, some people work in one file for the whole project. Or I mean, one or two files with tens of thousands of lines of code. And I mean, if you use a good editor where you can find things fast, like VI, or I bet Emacs could, then that's kind of doable, but it's also kind of scary. You're just one key combo away from committing half your file erased or something. Probably much faster to compile with just one translation unit. I think so. That's what I heard. I've never actually tested it, but it makes sense. But it's probably, is it maybe the linker that's much faster? Because it doesn't have to do all the linking stuff between the objects. As for much for the didn't catch your mistake, but thanks for correcting it. Thanks for clarifying. Okay, here's a large one. Let's cut this one up. Maybe like this, and it should be here somewhere. Let's make this even larger. Don't like that. Like so maybe, and then that could work. Kind of like a Unity build where you just include the .c files and hope you don't get name collisions. Yeah, there we go. It's because I was missing the P in hope. Oh, okay, I didn't see it. It got caught by the Twitch filter thing. Thought I was saying that naughty word. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, another large one. Yeah, Unity builds. I've done those before, so I know a little about them. I mean, it's just of course, just an approach to C or C++. But yeah. But I mean, my program compiles pretty fast, and I don't have a fancy machine. It's just an i5. So let's do one compilation. Actually, let's do a debug. That's maybe 2 seconds. Let's do a release build. That's a good point. Let me check that. It throws an error in release because I have a flag in that function here. Okay, that's maybe 4 seconds. So that's not bad. Let's count the lines of code. 13,000. I mean, that's not much. It actually shrank since last time I've checked. So if a game is procedurally generated, wouldn't you lose changes that you've made for this in future replays? Wouldn't you lose changes that you've made for this in future replays? You mean the changes I did just now? So it's procedurally, the path is procedurally generated. This whole world is I made by hand. So that's all done by hand. Every single thing. The only thing that's procedural is the path. So if let me restart this. If I jump in here, the pink line, not sure if you've seen this before. The pink line is the generated path for the player. And it looks like it loops, but it stops around here somewhere. So I was starting here. Okay, then maybe it stops. Yeah, this is the last. It ends here. There's also a gap here. So that's the game. And the changes I do to the world, they are all fixed. But what changes is all these red squares, as I showed you earlier. They get altered at runtime. But what I do is when you press play, the game makes a complete copy of the whole world and then messes with that, changes things. But if you restart, you get a fresh copy, and that gets its path set, etc. Monsters spawned procedurally, etc. But this is the baseline. So how does the pathing itself work? You mean for the player or for the programmer? I mean, you're asking as a player or as a programmer, because yeah, there are two different questions. Both, I guess. Okay, so the shorter one for the player is the player just walks the path. So they spawn at the start and they walk to the end and try not to die. And at the end there's a portal that brings them to the end region, which is pretty small. But something happens there eventually, hopefully. Not right now. But that's it, yeah. The player gets plopped into the world. So if I restart here, I land somewhere in the world. Each time somewhere different. And each time I get a different path. For example, this one looks completely different. And the pathing works by... So the first step is when the game boots up, it looks at it finds all the tile patches. So those are these things here. Colored in brown, colored in purple, colored in blue. Purple, I guess that's pink then. Purple, pink. Those are the tile patches, and I detect them by completely flood filling the whole world. And does the path manipulate the level? The path, not only the exits manipulate the level. And that's when the path is chosen. The algorithm goes through after it has a path. It goes through and collapses all the red exits from the tile patches that it didn't use, as you've seen before. But other than that, it doesn't really manipulate the level else in another way. But yeah, so if the game has all the patches, then it collects all the exits, which are the red things, and then it chooses a random patch in the world as a start patch, and then it just randomly chooses one exit each time. So this patch right here has 4 exits, these 4 ones here, the red ones. And let's say it chooses this one, then it has 2 new exits to choose from, chooses another one, chooses another one, etc, 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 until I say stop. And that's basically it. Okay, so the player can't fully go wherever they want. There's a designated path to take them from one patch to the next. Correct. Correct, that's how it is now. It wasn't like that a week ago, when it was more of an open world game, but I had this concept before, but I threw it out. But I reconsidered and put it back in. So what you have is the world is always the same, and there will be dungeons, villages, NPCs to find, secrets to find, but if you see them or not is random. So as you do runs, you'll see more and more of the world. And I probably should put in some kind of meta progression, as the other modern roguelikes do. But yeah, that's the idea. And that's mainly because it fits the rest of the game much better. Because if you look at this game and you've played one of the old roguelikes, you immediately think, okay, this is permadeath, this is a path you go down that's randomized. So it fits the expectation the game sets much better. Yeah, so, and I mean, I'm doing this for the world, for creating a world, but the world is still there, even if you can only see a part of it. That's how I tell myself that this is a good idea. But yeah, I mean, it was much less painful than I thought it would be, adding the paths back in, so I can theoretically, don't think I will, but theoretically I could throw them out again. But yeah, it's just too clean of a solution for many problems. The main one maybe is that in an open world game you have to do so much work up front, and it's not that I couldn't do the work, it's that I couldn't do it in time. Because it's just a gigantic amount of work. How big is the world anyways? I'm guessing it's not infinite. No, it's, well, if I zoom out and scroll, you'll see nothing because of the JPEG artifacts. But it's, if you can see the white lines. So that's one rectangle. The world is 16 of those, so 4 by 4 of these rectangles. And it's, I think it's, yeah, it's 2048 by 1000 tiles. That's 100 years of playtime. I mean, you can make 100 years of playtime pretty easily, but to make them good is the hard part. So that it doesn't get boring after 5 minutes. You know what I mean? And if I say, I mean, 16 of these tiles, right now I have 4 of them really brought up to standard. So that's a quarter of the world that I have. Because I can iterate on this smaller part of the world much faster. But bringing the rest up to par is not that hard. So the other part of the worlds look like this. So it's not that bad. It's just moving the entities around and doing the exit stuff that I'm doing right now. But yeah. Yeah, I get you. I think once you add NPCs, villages, exploration grows heavily. Yeah. Is there a plan for biomes? Snow, desert, swamp, jungle. Not that extreme, but yeah, kind of. So I have mountain. I have this kind of a muddy jungle type. I have this highland, kind of a highland, mossy rocks, and I have to be careful so that you can see something with all the JPEG compression. Yeah, this is just fields and stuff, and then I have more of a marsh, that yellow stuff here, and yeah, snow. I think I had some snow. Yeah, that's right. I have the snow is currently gone, but I want to add the snow back in, but that's pretty cumbersome. So I can't place it manually, but maybe I'll write an algorithm or something like that. But yeah, snow, I definitely want snow. And then like this maybe. But yeah, that's just not a priority right now, but it looks much better already here. These highlights. So when you said that the world is handcrafted, like a little, like very little bit each mountain or region, or did it procedurally generate it originally and then make manual changes? So it's everything is by hand. There's no procedural generation. I had at the very beginning, I wrote a tool that tool is long gone. But basically, it had, I'm trying to remember because it's so long ago, but it had these, I'm not sure if you can see, but the blue rectangle right here, that's one block in my engine, one tessellation block. I had a tool that I could, much like the geo tool here, where I can just lift stuff. I could lift these blocks and it would adjust the elevation of the blocks around it. So if you, right here, if I move up, I just get this long thing here. But with that tool, if I move two up, one up, and then two up would have been like this, three up would have been like this, four up would have been like this. And with that tool, I did a really coarse outline of the world, of the topology, which had blocks that would all look like, they would all be flat, but they would be, they would form an elevation. And then, what did I do? I think I just went over the world so many times. I think 5 times in total. Went over every bit of the world, and I always changed it a little bit. And then I somehow arrived at this. So this is really intricate here because I'm working on this all the time. But you can see, let me go down here. This is much less intricate. So there are much larger patches of even terrain. So it's not that noisy everywhere. So yeah, but it's just iteration to get to here. And I mean, the problem is I've still no proof that this is working. So I'll have to play test this a lot more, and yeah, maybe even experiment with the terrain layout. And the long flat patches that you just saw in the more grassy region, that's an unsolved problem, because I have to guide the player through those as well, and either I use these little hills like this for that, or maybe trees simply. Not sure. But what I'm trying to avoid is that the whole world looks like this, because that's just boring. I mean, the same repeating patterns. There should be some changes in the topology between the regions. But yeah, we'll see. Next thing is just making this work. And then I'll do a day or half a day of just playing the game and seeing if it works. Okay, I think I was here. I mean, I can't fuss too much about this. I need to get myself an x86 machine so I can playtest. I'm not sure if I can compile ARM. I mean, I can maybe compile it, but I can't test it, because I don't have an ARM machine. So you have a MacBook, or what kind of ARM machine do you have? Only way you do an ARM Mac is if you use like GitHub Actions or something. Actually, my parents have a Mac, so I could compile it there. But I also don't have macOS support. And macOS, the problem with that is that they threw out OpenGL. So, but I could maybe use Angle for that, but oh god. I think if I try to use the Angle project from Google, I'm gonna shoot myself. Mac supports up to OpenGL 4.3. I thought they deprecated OpenGL years ago. At least that's what I heard. But if it's still a legacy supported, then I mean, open a window in macOS. I think I have that code lying around somewhere. But I would need the controller stuff as well. It's deprecated, but OpenGL 4.3 is the last version that's supported. Also, they just don't add new versions. Okay. Yeah, well, in that case, OpenMW is OpenGL 4.1, and I think I played early daily. Minecraft Java still not 3.3. Oh, okay. You played nearly every day Open Morrowind. That's funny. Open Morrowind is basically the only game that runs on the only 3D game that runs on OpenBSD. So I've played that also quite a lot. Yeah, I just need OpenGL 2.1. So that's not an issue. The issue was always, is it still supported and does it run? Are there no stupid bugs? Because yeah, I love Morrowind. I've started using SVN to version my game files. So if I install a mod that breaks my game, I can just revert back to the revision. Okay, that's dedication. That's dedication. I think I've never modded Morrowind. Maybe I should try that one time. Git could never. Too many binary assets. SVN handles it like a champ. Yeah. I was playing it before jumping on stream. That's nice. It sounds pretty good. I was thinking about booting up my PlayStation and just driving around a bit in GTA and listening to the radio. That's what I do sometimes. Okay, like this maybe. Do that too. Just do laps around the island whilst watching some YouTube videos. Oh, that's actually a great idea. Watching YouTube while driving around. That sounds fire. I think I'll do that later. Just expect to crash when the YouTube video suddenly gets interesting. Yeah. That'll happen for sure. But yeah, driving around the island on the highways or just pretending, or just behaving in traffic, stopping at red lights, and just watching the NPCs walk around is also quite relaxing. While listening to the radio, of course. Otherwise, that would be kind of strange. Not a clanker yet. Not yet. But yeah, I mean, if you're into game development, GTA 5 is just insane. Just looking at the pedestrians and their behavior and what they're doing. There's so much work and care in all that. It's mind-boggling. Okay, that's wrong now. Maybe like that. This. I sometimes play Red Dead 2 multiplayer and just go around the world. Sometimes if I'm working or doing my own stuff, put the game in cinematic mode and set a marker to a location and just let my character automatically follow the path. Passing other people and animals and stuff. That's also fun. Yeah, Red Dead 2 is also gorgeous. Gotta have something leaning on my left or right thumbstick. Otherwise it registers you as idle and kicks you off the server. Okay. So why not just play in single player? Just because it's more fun with the other people around. That would make sense. But yeah, Red Dead is also amazing, but it's such a long game. I can't bring myself to play it again. It's a bit sad, really. Passing other people, gotta have something. Okay, I have that. I read that. I refuse. You refuse to complete it. Okay. I think I played it twice. Once on PC and once on PlayStation. Ooh. If I enjoy a game a lot, I don't complete it. Find it too depressing. Oh, I get that, yeah. Especially with Red Dead. That's you really miss all the people. That's like it's like watching Friends, binging Friends all the seasons, and then you're sad that the show's over. That you're no longer hanging around with all these characters. Do I chop that? No. Oh man, there will be so many bugs in this path stuff. I'll have to write some checks. I actually met Roger Clark, who voiced Arthur. He went to a university not far from me in Pontypridd, which influenced Arthur's character having a Welsh last name, and his source being a Welsh mythological goddess. Oh, didn't know that. Met him at a con, not at uni. Dude's like 20 years older than me. Roger Clark. Oh yeah, Wait, have I seen a picture of him? I think so. Yeah. I thought I saw some YouTube videos. He seems really chill. But it's awesome that you met him. I mean, if you say like 20 years older than me, then that doesn't mean much to me because I don't know how old you are. I also don't know how old Roger Clark is, but I'm guessing mid-40. Yeah, look, not that far off. Okay. Yeah, what? So was that surprising that he's much older than you? Because you kind of hear it in his voice. No? I think so, at least. But also the game is 10 years old, so... Almost 10 years, I think. Okay, this one has to be separated. Maybe like that. And then let's add stairs. That's tricky. Yeah, that works. No, not surprising, but yeah, really nice guy. He knew a few Welsh phrases when he went to the uni here with completely correct pronunciation. Oh, right. So he came prepared, you could say. I'm new to this workflow. This is still a bit awkward. Indeed. What format are you saving the map in, by the way? Just binary. I'm just dumping the array onto disk. And that's worked with Windows as well. Even if I compile the game on this Linux machine and then test it on Windows, it just works. So, well, actually, I'm now compiling the assets into the executable, so that's maybe why that works. It's actually not sure if that's the reason. But either way, it works. Yeah, so friend of mine with his game, it's a flat 2D game, and he generates a header file that contains a massive U&A array with a bunch of hex values. Yeah, that's what I was debating a week ago. If I use object copy, which is the program that comes with GCC and LLVM as well, with which you can just convert any file into an object file. Or if I use another program that creates these header files. And yeah, I mean, my first instinct was that that'll take too much time to compile. But actually, because I only need to compile it for the release executable, that might actually be not that bad. But yeah, but then there's also the meddling with the header files and assets boundary that I didn't like. So I just tried the object copy thing and it worked. But yeah, both of them are valid. Of course. As is shipping a WARD file. Or how you'll name it. Which is basically a giant string of what the level contains. We took inspiration from SoCal, which converts GLSL's shader code into header files, where the unit 8 array is full of hex code, where each hex code is a character to be passed onto Metal Vulkan, WebGPU, etc., depending on what you set the compiler option to. Damn, I can't type today. That's fine. I can't speak today. I'm stumbling with words. SoCal. I've heard that before, but I'm not sure what that is. SHDC allows you to compile GLSL into SPIRV or Metal, but SoCal allows you to generate them as header files. SHDC being SoCal's shader compiler. Okay, so yeah, thank God I don't have that problem because I only target OpenGL. But yeah, with DirectX and Metal, you get into that territory. So the shader code is injected directly into the binary without having to bundle shader files with your binary on release. Okay, that makes sense. I was just thinking with Metal at least. I've never worked with DirectX, but with Metal at least you have to precompile your shaders and GLSL as well. So yeah, you have to have the code. You can't ship shader binaries. Same as if you just had a shader code as a multi-line string in GLSL. Okay, let me read that again. Converts GLSL into header files. Oh, okay. It takes GLSL and spits out all of them. Metal, Vulkan, and WebGPU. Okay, now I get it. Oh, wait. Maybe I still don't get it. Okay. Now I get it. So he converts GLSL to the other languages, and no, he doesn't do that. He took inspiration from SoCal, which does that. And SoCal then just spits out the header files, you include them, and then hopefully manage them in your graphics stack. Okay. That's good to know that there's a conversion tool for the other shaders. But I implemented one Vulkan renderer, and man, that was a task. I think it took me a whole month to understand the API. That's no joke. At least for me it wasn't. But yeah, I also don't know much about graphics cards. I just know the bare minimum to get things working in a relatable manner. Not related, reliable manner. So with SoCal you write GLSL run shdc over it, and with a flag depending if you're targeting Vulkan, WebGPU, DX12 or Metal. The output is a header file containing basically a massive string with that platform's shader code. It also has some extra stuff in there, like accessing attributes uniforms in your shader code. Okay. So SoCal is that, what is SoCal? Is that an engine or is it a tool? Because I think I heard the name before, but this needs to get chopped. I'm still not happy with this. Let's just keep it. So SoCal is a bunch of standalone C headers. It's got a GFX one that allows you to write once graphics code that targets different APIs for you. Also comes with SoCal app, which is a OS abstraction, single header file to handle windowing, input, etc. Comes with SoCal audio, SoCal log. Okay, so it's something like SDL or GLFW. But yeah, single header files is pretty neat. I also know of the STB header files, which has what I've used before, which is actually I used the TrueType renderer as well, but the Ogg4bis audio decoder encoder. I think it's just a decoder. Not sure. It's also pretty good. in a way, but individual single header files that you can just include and define a macro, very similar to SCB. Yeah, just include the file and define a macro prior to the include in a single C file that has it, and that's it. Yeah. So that's pretty neat. I've just avoided all the difficult stuff in my game. So I didn't need to use a library. That's the trick I used. Because I'm using PCM audio, using OpenGL, using barely 3D graphics, no animations, one single texture atlas, that avoids basically all of it. But yeah, otherwise I couldn't be doing this. Not because I wouldn't be able to, which may be the case, but it's more that then I just don't have the time. It's just everything compounds, and then in the end you're working 10 years on a game. Which is which is most likely going nowhere, because who can go for such a long time without seeing results? Sokol is mostly nice if you prefer a pipeline structure that's more like modern graphics APIs, but way more simpler. I kind of prefer it because I find OpenGL's state machine model confusing. Yeah, it is. OpenGL's model is confusing. But it's also really simple. I mean, it's easy to do the easy things. It's hard to do the hard things. And that's a quote from some programmer somewhere, which is a good thing. And with Vulkan, everything is hard. Absolutely everything. I mean, the draw triangle tutorial for Vulkan, if you don't use any of the libraries or files they provide, that'll cost you a lot of hair. Vulkan is horrific. I mean, Vulkan probably is beautiful in some way, but my god, the boilerplate code. Okay, am I doing something constructive here right now? Oh, that's that has to go. Is that... Wait, where am I? Okay, I'm far from the bottom. Yeah. You've got libraries like Folk and VMA that's meant to remove loads of boilerplate. but setting up your Surface device queue swap chain. Oh god, swap chain. Haven't heard that word in a long time. VK allocator. Command buffers is painful, yeah. Okay, so to add to my pain, I also tried to do it multi-threaded, so that might be half of what I'm remembering that the pain was. This is pretty weird here. Let me chop this in half. It's better. Sounds traumatic. Yeah, I mean, not that heavy, but I mean, I learned a lot. I'm not surprised you can't remember some details of when he was writing Vulkan. Yeah, yeah. I think I must have been high to try that. But yeah, actually, I was trying to. I'm not sure if you've seen it or if you're into game engines, but there is a talk by Naughty Dog from, I mean, it's really old now. I think it's 10 years old or something, where they described how they rebuilt their engine, their whole engine in fiber jobs. And with that achieved basically 99% exhaustion of all the cores. Not in what, but with fiber jobs. So a fiber is, just like in real life, is a small variant of a thread. So a fiber is, oh my god, let me see if I can get that correctly, because I've implemented that. Akin to green thread. Yeah, I think so. So they are just, they're just context switches. I think they were just context switches. So basically what they had was, maybe their engine still works like this. Could be. But they spun up one thread on the CPU just for for the job queue, and then all the other threads were worker threads, and they would pick from the queue and then execute all the jobs in fibers. And there was a counter system in there, so jobs could depend on other jobs, and jobs could spawn thousands of other jobs, let them be worked at in all threads, and then get loaded back in if all their dependent jobs were completed. Amazing. I mean, it sounded amazing, and I implemented that, but the context switching was somehow taking much more time than they said. But otherwise, it's a crazy system. There's one guy called Sasha, I believe, is trying to make it simpler with the goal that there's an abstraction layer that gives the same simplicity as OpenGL and stuff. Okay. Interesting. Sounds like a nightmare to manage in terms of edge cases. Yeah, what I found crazy is that they said that in a really short time, I'm not sure what it was, but I think a year, they converted their whole engine to this job system, which going from normal, even object-oriented code to job-based code sounds crazy. Yeah, in edge cases, yeah. I had, so the real problem is the multi-threading, because you can kind of you have some influence over which jobs get completed first, but that's totally non-deterministic. In most cases. So yeah, but I mean, their games speak for themselves in what they're trying to achieve from a performance standpoint. Going from a sync game engine to async sounds like quite a job to do. Yeah, it's that sounds like, if my boss at Naughty Dog would have come and said, let's convert this engine to async, let's split this into threads, I'd maybe have I'd taken a vacation at the least. Good on them. Need more companies using their own engines or Unreal Engine slop. Yeah. It gets on my nerves as well. I'm not sure why, but I always see in all the Unreal, it's not even necessarily slop games, but you see Unreal games often have this really bad global illumination shadow that looks horrible, and I always see that. You can just tell that game is an Unreal Engine, same path issues, same lighting, same everything. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Unreal Engines turn out to be early 2010s Unity games that were mostly asset flip games. Yeah, what happened to Unity games? They must still be around. Maybe they're just not as obvious. Don't like that very much. Let's move this up. Yeah, Unity took a weird U-turn with turning the game engine into being more flexible graphically. Before you could tell that a game was a Unity game, but now a lot of games using Unity are more unique. Wasn't Balatro made with Unity? Oh, I'm not even sure. But that's it. That's a game where you could never tell. Balatro was written in Lua, I think. Using Love 2D? No way. Really? That's crazy. That's awesome. Love 2D is pretty awesome. I made some toy games myself in Love 2D. But that's quite a while ago. What's this? Does this make sense? Oh god, so many exits. I also think as well indie devs like Unity, and indie devs are 10 times more creative than AAA studios. Well, I think that AAA studios, the people working there for the most part are just as creative as indie devs, but they just don't get a say in what happens. Often, at least. And there's, I mean, if you really look at the indie devs, then, I mean, the indies are those producing all the slop. So you might as well say, well, maybe not all of them. But I do think that small teams with super dedicated people have made the best video games to date. And I'm especially thinking about the 2000s or late 90s. Yeah, on an individual level they are, but too much bureaucracy means creativity gets shadowed by hard set rules. Yeah, I mean I've never worked in a game studio, so I've no idea how that works, but I can imagine that there are constraints. That there are constraints on who gets to say what goes into the game. But I'm sure they also cherish creativity. I'm stuck being a C# monkey 5 days a week. I mean, that's not bad. Could be worse. What was I trying to say? Yeah, I mean, I think they cherish creativity, but then they often choose the most common denominator, and so it gets kind of samey. I do miss writing PHP though. PHP is pretty fun. It's actually, PHP is in such a sweet spot when it comes to the web. Because writing HTML by hand is too hard. I mean, not the writing it, but the keeping it up to date for a more complex site. I think you said a while ago that you do PHP for your job. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I did that. I don't do that anymore. But yeah, I did do that for quite a while. PHP 8.4 though is really good. My first job was 7.4 and I migrated us to 8.1. That was a nice upgrade. What's changed in 8.4? Did they the API or? Okay, let's put this down. How do I split this? So support for enums was nicer with string comparisons, stricter type system, and fibers. Oh, okay. Stricter type system is nice. Union types was handy, and I think pattern matching was introduced. Regex. Didn't PHP have regex? Like FP languages. Okay. Okay, I don't have no idea what that is. Or do you mean like functional programming languages? Pattern matching like functional. Yeah, that's above my pay grade. Like how Haskell and OCaml does it. Okay, I don't know how a Haskell or OCaml. I've seen Haskell code, but it's hieroglyphics to me. The only functional programming I've done was in. Well, I've read the Lisp book, the famous one. But yeah, functional programming I did was mostly in, as well as you can in JavaScript. Do I jump? Why did I? Let's make it. Let's do this like this. Yeah, that's better. This is pretty tiring. Wrong side. Here you can do match statements that will allow you to write what is basically a switch, but as an expression. And you can pass in a value into the match statement and check on patterns. Probably best if you Google that later, how to explain. Yeah, I can imagine. I might have seen it. We can do a match. You can do match statements that allow you to write, or it's basically a switch as an expression. And you can pass in a value into the match statement. Hey Valkyrie, yeah, I'm developing something. Developing a game. Yeah, I'll look it up later. Okay, I'll just look up Haskell pattern matching. Okay. So the problem is I'm using either these holes or these hills to guide the path, but I have no idea how to do that in an open field without creating the same pattern here. Might actually have to be a forest. Do you do C at work? No. Well, if you count this as my work, then yes. Which is what I'm doing full time at the moment. So I'm still self-employed, but I'm not having any jobs right now. Didn't realize you made this your full-time job. Thought it was something you were doing on the side. Well, I'm trying to. I'm not sure if I'll succeed, but I'll give it a shot. So flags. Let's clean these up maybe. I need to get this out. Okay, where are we? Okay, halfway, almost, kind of. In halfway is in view. But okay, this one. Okay, first of all, let me remove these guys and might want to chop this one off. Or maybe cut this one in half. Oh, that's pretty cool. Maybe like this. Not sure. Okay, I mean, it's better. Oh. There's an entrance there. Have to keep that. I would love to find an algorithm that can do this for me, but I'm having problems coming up with the correct solutions myself. I'm quite sure the computer couldn't do that. Um, this also still looks kind of weird. I'll leave that. But I can bring this down again. That could need a staircase. Here. This looks actually pretty cool. I should do more of these temple formations. Oh, that's also a good place for an exit. Have I been here? Let's make this an exit. Should actually be here. Okay, almost halfway, which means I'm probably... Wait, no, the lower half has some larger holes in it, so I might be able to finish this by midday tomorrow. And this is just... don't need that. Let's cut this off right here. Here. Okay. Well, this actually looks pretty good. I may want these buildings to be accessible from the hill. So let's add some stairs. Stairs. Don't want this all gone, but only this. Okay. This is, yeah. Okay, this whole thing, I think I'll leave that as is. Yeah, I could chop this up. Yeah, why not? Maybe. And this is. This can go away anyways. As can this over here. Something like this. That's better. Okay, these look fine. That's weird. Okay, what I can do now is remove these. Well, I have to remove them as well. Actually, I don't need to. But I'll have to remove the start positions. Okay, and this is just a dead end, so not sure what I'll do there. I'll do that tomorrow. What I can do is remove all these start positions down here and then test the game with a proper set of tiles. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. Yeah, this should actually, let's see. Yeah. That works. Okay. I think I'm still in God mode. Let's just follow the path. See what happens. Okay, this is pretty cool. Out over the lake. Okay, this looks really bad. Let's continue. Well, I should actually fix it. Damn it. Okay, another one. Where's this going? Pretty cool. U-turn, not bad. This is strange. But does it lead me in here? So this better be a dead end really soon. Okay. Oh, okay. I get it. I mean, that's fine. They're all connected. I think that's okay. That mixes things up. As long as that doesn't happen all the time. Okay, again, a double path. And another one. Okay, that's also fine. Okay, what's going on here? This is getting confusing. What is this? So up until here, it was actually pretty good. I'm actually really happy with that. But what happened here was pretty bad. So this was down and this one as well. How can that happen? Hmm. Okay, this is fine. Okay. The same thing here again. Okay, this is closed, so that's good. This is closed. But this is... Okay, I mean they lead to the same exit, which is here. Oh, this actually feels like a clearing with all these deer here. First time I got that impression. Okay, I'm getting inklings of having fun. Probably because I'm using God mode. But no, actually running around here is pretty cool. Okay, I'm weak. This was also bad. This is bad. But yeah, overall, I think this is working. I think this is actually working. The bad part is that I needed... Well, did I do today? I think I worked mostly on programming. So I think half a quadrant takes me half a day, so a quadrant takes me a day, so that's 16 days. No, that's wrong. 2 quadrants a day, so 8 days. Okay, thank God. Had to piece out for like 30-ish minutes, so I'm guessing you got more done in those 30 minutes than me asking questions for a full hour. No, actually, no, it's not. It's more like, I'm guessing you've got them. It's fine. It's fine. The thing is, if I'm sitting here and doing this without having someone to talk to or a video to watch, then I would just go insane because it's so mind-numbing, and it's really, I mean, you really have to think all the time. So a bit of a change is welcome. No worries. But you probably missed me walking through the. So what I did is I limited the game to the upper half that I completed, and I've walked around a bit, and it's not bad, I think. Okay, this is bad that I can't get to my ring. That's something I have to think about. But if you look at this path, then that's not too shabby. And sure, it's a bit samey right now, but that'll only get better with time. Okay, this is weird. There's path down here. And there's a stone. That's game over right here. Yeah, I get a bit of a rubber duck situation. It's a rubber duck situation. I've never heard of a rubber duck situation. A rubber duck? Yeah, I mean the yellow swimming rubber ducks, yeah. But what's a rubber duck situation? All I can think about is sitting in the bathtub. Oh, this is a dead end. That makes sense. Makes sense that this is available. Oh, and what? Well, this opens up a path. That's bad. That's pretty bad. Yeah, so this has to drop down here as well. Otherwise, doesn't make sense. Yeah, I have to save first. Basically, in programmer terms, it's just where you chat about a problem, either step by step or at whole, to find mistakes or anything that you're struggling to wrap your head around. Oh, okay. Rubber duck situation. I think I read it in the... No, that can't be. But I've heard somewhere that where a team didn't have version control, only people with a rubber duck on their monitor could check in their code or something like that. Rubber duck debugging comes from a book, Pragmatic Programmer, I think it's called. Okay. So it's basically therapy for programmers. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, of course I'm stuck here. Apparently it goes like 1 bag, borrow, steal, buy, fabricate, or otherwise obtain a rubber duck. Okay. Place rubber duck on the desk and inform it you're just going over some code with it. If that's alright. Oh, so you're talking to the duck. Now I get it. I'm a bit slow today. Sorry. I explained to the duck that what your code's supposed to do. And now go into detail and explain your code line by line. Oh wow, okay. At some point you will tell the duck what you're doing next and then realize that that's not in fact what you're actually doing. The duck will sit there serenely happy in the knowledge that it has helped you on your way. In a pinch, a coworker might be able to substitute for the duck. However, it is often preferred to confide mistakes to the duck instead of your coworker. That's actually funny. So, I mean, that's what I'm doing when I'm talking to chat. When nobody's here or everybody's lurking, then yeah, that's funny. It's preferred to confide mistakes to the duck instead of your coworker. Don't tell your mistakes to your coworker, tell to the duck. Then your boss won't find out you're breaking the code. That's pretty solid advice. But I mean it's written as a joke, but it probably helps. Especially speaking it out loud, going over your code, explaining it to someone else. That's of course, yeah, obviously. Well, yeah, 100% a joke, like this next part. It would be wonderful if this were true, but the fact is that most ducks prefer to take a mentoring role. There are a few ducks, however, that do choose to code, but these are the ducks that nobody hears about because they are selected for secret government projects that are highly classified in nature. If ducks are so smart, why don't we just let the ducks do other work? Was the question. Okay, that escalated quickly. from wholesome practice to conspiracy. Most ducks prefer to take the mentoring role. Ducks are taking over, I tell you. Oh. Okay, I mean, it feels a bit weird here. Wait, am I still... Yeah, it becomes super weird down here. Where is this? Great. It's right in the middle. Why does this patch 92, 112? Yeah, so they are different. Just same color because I only have so many colors. But why did that feel so bad? Oh, it's just a large dead end here. So let's just get rid of that. My partner has heard me talking about rubber ducking with my coworker and just thinks I say rubber dick because how thick my accent still has. I see that causing some confusion. Okay, bit weird, but passable. It's a little way around the back there. And is this the same place? So I definitely have to make them more distinguishable. Okay, so and now I'm lost. I have no idea what's going on. Is it turning into itself? What is going on? This looks completely different from what I just remembered walking around. It's weird. I can't tell if you went in circles or not, and yeah, me neither. Really weird. I mean, these change, of course, all the time, but didn't I go through here? That can't be. Strange. Let's take another walk. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. Okay, this is kind of weird because it's such a large area, but still cohesive. Yeah, that's fine. I have it mapped in my mind. Let's see what's over there. Yeah, this path right here, that's throwing me off. That should maybe go. Oh, okay, that's fine. This is a dead end, I presume. Yeah, that's also fine. This is weird, but okay. It's fine. Okay. You know, because players can spawn at different locations, do you just scan all tiles and place the player on any tile that isn't ABCD? ABCD being trees or something? No. That, I wish I could do that easily. But I want it to look intentional. And that's why I have... So it's stupidly simple. It's just these S's that I place everywhere by hand. Then, yeah. That's the spawn point. Yeah, and this is a region marker. So that they are not really used right now, and I'm debating removing them. But this says R for rock region. So this patch here, this pink one, up until the red, is then marked as being rock terrain. So I can, for example, switch these bushes out to have another color in the rock region, for example. But yeah, I probably need them. But that's also placed by hand. And this marker is also where the exit is placed at the very end of the path in the last tile patch. The exit is to end the game is placed on another one of these. So every patch in the world has to have one of these, or most of them, more than half. I'm not quite sure. The thing is, the last patch of the path having an S marker is a requirement for the path not to fail. So if I have very few of them, the path generation will take much longer because it has to randomly end up at such a marker. So there are all kinds of weird things happening with the solution I've chosen. Solutions, but yeah. I could probably place the player anywhere, check if they are next to an obstacle. Well, no, if I place the player here randomly, then there's no way of getting him out. If I place him next to an obstacle, I could programmatically push them away back into the center. Because what I want is, I want this little camp here to be placed around the player. And for that, the player must be some ways away from walls, etc. Okay, this is pretty here. So more trees maybe means more pretty. That's good to know. I guess it's simpler to just have markers, otherwise you get into scope creep with adding randomly generated spawn points. I mean, this is a good example for a trade-off, because placing these markers in the world really takes up time. So if you think, okay, going over the world once and placing them all is fine, but what if I have a change in the future where I'm forced to place them all again, and that means another day of work. So I'm constantly juggling these, weighing these things. Oh, stone. That has to go. I've also noticed, okay, I'm overdoing it, but moving around with the D-pad, and I mean especially with the D-pad, but also with the left stick and X button, it really it's really hard on my left arm and hand, especially the thumb, of course. So that might actually be a problem if people can't play the game because the controls suck. But I'm not sure how to tackle that yet. I mean, I have hold to move. Maybe it's just that this is too slow. But you might imagine if I make the key repeat too fast, you might just die by holding down the button too long. Because that's a turn every time, of course. In NetHack and in Rogue, I think, you can prepend your key inputs with a number. So you can say 5 up, then you move 5 tiles up. But with the controller, that's maybe with a modifier button. But yeah. Oh, nice. I'm in a dungeon. Didn't even notice. What version of OpenGL are you targeting? Guessing latest. No, this is OpenGL 2.1. It's the same as, well, I think it has feature parity with OpenGL ES1, I think. That's why I chose it. And that's also everything I need. But I have one extension loaded for the... It's called the frame buffer extension. That's for the FXAA. That's actually absolutely not needed right now. But you can see it brings a bit of a feel to the graphics. But yeah, that's all I need. Oh, what's happening? Hungry. Interesting, I've only played around with OpenGL 4.3 haven't had the pleasure of anything prior. I've heard good stuff about the immediate mode style that pre-OpenGL 3.3 offers. If you mean the really old style, I don't use that, but I'm not quite sure. I'm using shaders, just really bare bone shaders. I mean, it's not really bare bone. It's pretty. You can do quite a lot. The only thing that's missing is like geometry shaders and stuff. But oh, I made it to the end by chance. That was not a good placement for the spawn thing. Yeah, so OpenGL 2.1, I mean, it's basically everything that a smartphone could render. Well, okay, iOS has Metal, but on Android, I think it's always... Well, don't quote me, but I think it's mostly OpenGL ES. And that's what I have. And yeah, I mean, look at the game. I don't need fancy stuff. And I have an OpenGL book here, but that is... don't know what version. Doesn't even say. It's for something, I think. Okay, 6-4. I'm calling it a night. I may be going offline to play some GTA and watching YouTube. That sounds pretty good. Oh, but before I go, let me commit my stuff. What did I do? I fixed a typo or something. Oh, yeah. Fix a bug. Doesn't matter. Let me all enjoy that. Don't fall asleep doing. Gets too relaxing sometimes. That might actually happen, yeah. We'll probably catch you tomorrow if you're live. Working from home, so we'll be able to tune in. Nice. Yeah, I'll be live tomorrow. Maybe in the afternoon. But yeah. There's a strong possibility that either that or then later at night. So let me turn on my machine. What? Why there's so many changes here? I think that's just moving stuff around. Oh god. What is this? Oh. I'm confusing myself. Nearly had a heart attack. I thought I had dangling RCS files, which is the scariest thing that I've come upon with this project. Okay, that's the same. Let's actually, yeah, let's push this. First have to look what I did today. Oh yeah, I worked on the save games. And I did the dungeons. And I made the ending portal. Forgot that already. Truncate dungeons. Remove her world dungeon exits. Right. Generated path into save game. What was the other thing? Yeah. Place game and portal and path. What is that? Cleanup. Okay. I don't need that. Fix. Make path debugging easier in editor. With editor. Oh wow. Didn't I? Day 6th. Okay, so this makes sense. Wait. Yeah, still the 6th. Okay. Did I add the carving today? I think so. Date half fix half the worlds. So that's the active world. Half the worlds. Patch exits. That makes sense. Okay. So tomorrow I can probably create another build. I should be able to get through the world exits, and then, yeah, I mean, the game is playable. It's just that half the world is really bad. The pathing is really bad, but the other half, yeah. When my partner isn't using her PC, I'll give the Windows x86 build a shot. All right, awesome. But she's playing Sims 4 24/7, so God knows when that'll be. That's fine. Better not disturb her or take her Sims away. That'll probably be a bad idea. But yeah, if you have time, otherwise, I might look into the macOS version, but man, I have to write. Okay, I mean, I have the window code lying around somewhere in Swift, I think. But then I bet I'll have to update the Swift version. And macOS is such a pain. If it's a hassle, don't worry. Yeah, I mean, it's not my top priority right now, but if they still, I mean, my thinking was always they don't support OpenGL enough that it's running flawlessly. But if that is the case, that they do support it, then I mean, All right. Then yeah, I'll look into it. I'll check my macOS port files that I have lying around. But I don't have a controller support. Does the SDL thing have macOS? Don't remember. Mac? Oh yeah, it does have Mac. So that's a big plus. So the SDL controller library or database has Mac in it. So I could look at the SDL code for that. So that would probably be 2 to 4 days of work probably for another platform. I mean, that's not bad. I'll think about it. But I can... Wow, I'd have to look into how it works with Steam, because I know releasing a macOS app, because I've done that before, requires code signing stuff, and I wonder how how Steam does that. If you first have to walk to Apple, get your app reviewed, and then walk to Steam and get your app reviewed there. Would be, I don't think that's the case, but you don't need to get it reviewed from Apple. Okay, Apple has CLI too that allows you to sign binaries. Yeah. Yeah, so that's good. Clang cannot compile Swift, but the Swift compiler is on Linux. But the Apple SDKs, oh god. So cross-compiling is probably a bad idea. Get to it when it becomes an actual problem. macOS is such a small gaming share, it's almost not worth the hassle. I mean, yeah, that's the question. If it would be easy, then no question, I'd do it. But I see dark clouds on the horizon when I think about integrating all this what I have with macOS. The workflows mainly. But yeah. But it's nice to know that that's an option. And I've been using Macs for 20 years, so would be nice to have the app work there as well. Good. Can always get a cheap secondhand Mac M1 Mac Mini or something, but they're still over $100. Yeah, I mean, my parents have an iMac So that's not a problem. And Intel Macs as well. So I can get one of those. And or I could repair the antenna on my MacBook and then, but that's also Intel. But yeah, okay. So I wasn't using my M1 Mac at Mini. I detonated it. No, there's no need. There's computers everywhere around me that I can borrow, so that's not an issue. But thanks. Okay, so I'm going offline and booting up the PlayStation. Yeah, that's what I'll do. No worries, take care, catch you tomorrow. Enjoy GTA and YouTube combo. I will. I'll report tomorrow. Oh yes. So thanks for hanging out, for stopping by, and I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, thanks so much.